Hello everyone and welcome to a bit of an unexpected video maybe dropping here on my channel, but I'm kind of in the mood to talk about some movies for once. In case you didn't know, movies is kind of an interest of mine as well. Like obviously my main interest in life is music, but I also kind of really like movies and different art forms and whatnot. And every single year I try to keep up with everything that's going on in the whole kind of Oscar area of movies. Maybe that's not the correct area you should really focus on when you want to be exposed to the best movies out there, but it's just kind of a way of for me to keep up to date with what's going on in the movie world, I suppose. And I keep up with the Oscars every single year. I try to watch as many movies as possible that are within the talks of the Oscars, really. And all the time, like every single year, I can't manage to watch all of them because they're simply not available to me. Many of the films, they are released in Sweden way too late for me to, watch them before the Oscars. But this year I've really tried to make a very strong effort in trying to watch as many as possible. And today I'm just having a feeling, like I'm just having a vibe of just wanting to talk a little bit about what I think of the movies that are in the talks of getting Oscars and whatnot. The Oscar ceremony will start in a few hours when I'm recording this, so maybe I'm a little bit late with this video, but it's just my feeling that I want to do this, so I don't really follow any framework around that in that aspect anyway. Basically what this video is just me talking about what I think of the different nominations and what I think about the films from 2024, and yeah, I just want to get things off my chest, I suppose, and just I found this little fantasy.espn.com/games/OscarsPick'em thing where you just pick the thing that you, I guess it's meant to be for like predictions, but I don't really care about that. I'm not going to predict this. I'm just going to tell you what I think should win every single category in my opinion. I'm not a movie expert or anything like that. I don't know all of the technical shenanigans that goes on in the movie industry, but I know what I like and I know what I dislike. So that's really what we'll be talking about today. And I'll just go through all of the categories here on screen. There are 23 of them, and yeah, I'll just keep some brief comments, I suppose, about everything that I can talk about when it comes to them, and just take them in order here. Yeah, I'm starting off with actor in a supporting role. That's the first category that's announced every single year who's going to win it. It's kind of a shame that they have listed like the percentage here regarding of what people think will get picked. Actually, let me just zoom in a little bit there so it's clearer. So obviously Kieran Culkin is like a front runner here. I don't want to really pay attention to the percentages here, so I'll try and ignore that as much as possible. But one thing that just screams at me is, of course, that my favorite in this category is the one that's least picked. That would be Jeremy Strong from The Apprentice, which I think is the strongest performance out of the bunch here. Not that the other ones are, not great, because I think all of these are pretty damn good. Kieran Culkin, I'm completely fine with that being the winner. I think that's I loved his performance in this film, and I think he really knocked it out of the park with it, and probably the best part of that movie, of A Real Pain there. And yeah, I love Guy Pearce in The Brutalist. We'll talk more about The Brutalist later on. And Edward Norton is kind of this, very likable guy and a complete unknown, and he does that well. But Jeremy Strong is that's like, you really feel like you got a character there on your hands, and I feel like he's brilliant in that regard. So I'm going with Jeremy Strong on that one. Moving on to animated feature film, I have seen all of these actually. Quite a nice little selection here. I like these films. Inside Out 2 is apparently the big front runner to win this, which I don't know, it feels kind of like the predictable choice here. I don't think it stands out that much and it doesn't do too much special, but it was a nice little time for me. Really liked Flow. I think that's a beautiful film. Memoir of a Snail, really not up my alley, but I see what they're doing with it and I can understand the appeal. The Wild Robot, I liked the opening half of it, I would say. Then maybe it went a little bit tacky towards the end, but it's a reasonable one in here. However, I'm all for Wallace and Gromit. I think that movie is hilarious and one of my favorites from this year, actually. So I gotta go with that. It's not gonna win, but in my heart it won. Animated short film. I have actually not seen a single one of these. Shame on me. I'm skipping that category, sorry. Whichever one you like the most out of these, go for that one. I haven't had time to keep up with all of the categories. I'll tell you which ones I haven't seen and whatnot. Costume design. I've seen all of these films. I think this is a nice little selection here. Complete Unknown. I don't really care. Conclave's kind of nice. Nosferatu. I really like that. Gladiator 2 with its only nomination this year, which is of course quite deserved. I was very heavily let down by that film considering how much I love the first one. Wicked seems to be the popular pick here, and I think Wicked is a very good pick. I would go for Wicked as well. I think the costumes in that film are quite eye-catching and very much enjoy them. So why not? That would be a good win, I think. And Wicked needs to win something, I suppose. So I'm not sure if I would pick it in anything else. So why not here? Writing, original screenplay. I've seen all of these except September 5. I did not get around to watch that. And I think this might be the only category it's nominated in. Maybe one more or something like that. But haven't got around to it. It's apparently the front runner. But I gotta go. The Brutalist is by far my favorite out of these. It's mad how that story is entirely made up, really. I mean, it felt so real, and I really, really loved that. The other ones in here, I think A Real Pain is kind of a good screenplay as well. It's got a lot of dialogue in it, and quite quirky in that sense as well. So it's a nice shout here. Anora, I got no words. The more I talk about Anora in this video, the more upset I think I will be, so I'll try and keep it to a minimum. It's just not my kind of film, and to nominate it for the original screenplay when we basically know absolutely nothing about the protagonist of the film, I think is, it just doesn't sit right with me. I feel like it's a heavily underdeveloped story in Anora, and it was way too focused on gimmicks and hee-hee funny stuff. Yeah, I'll try and keep my complaining to a minimum with that. It's just not my kind of film. Substance is cool. That's cool. Adapted screenplay, there are a few in here. Conclave seems to be the favorite. Why not? I liked Conclave quite a lot, to be honest. I think that one's quite nice. Not sure if I would really go for it as like the adapted screenplay, but what else is in here? Complete Unknown. Nah, not for me. Emilia Perez, you know, everyone else has said so much about it anyway, so I don't need to comment. Sing Sing, I like that movie a lot. I think the screenplay's fine as well. And Nickel Boys is very intriguing. Actually quite a nice shout, to be honest. Only 4% on it. I'm going with Nickel Boys, actually. I liked Conclave, but Nickel Boys had a really cool screenplay. And it's, of course, one of the few categories that it's nominated in, so that could be a good win for Nickel Boys. If I got to pick, I'm going Nickel Boys in that one. Makeup and hairstyling. I've seen 4 of these. I haven't seen A Different Man, unfortunately. Looks kind of cool. But I mean, this apparently Wicked is the frontrunner here. I can't see it, you know, not being the Substance, because that's the most grotesque film. Or, well, no, it's not the most grotesque film I've seen, but it's so grotesque and just... I mean, the whole styling of whatever happens to these characters in the film. I mean, if you haven't seen it, I'm warning you. I'm warning you. It doesn't have pretty sights as the further into the movie you get along, and that comes down to the makeup, of course. So I think that one should absolutely win in that category. If I got to pick anyway. Film editing. I'm not much into like film editing and what makes a good film edit and what doesn't. I can notice when someone does something quite creative with the editing and whatnot. But for me, I mean, I'm just going with, I guess, my favorite out of the bunch. And I mean, The Brutalist, I think, is very well put together all in all. So why not just go for The Brutalist? For me, anyway. It seems like Wicked's the frontrunner here, and then Anora. Anyway, another little category that's more up my alley, I suppose, would be actress in a supporting role, which I think are some good nominees in here for sure. Isabella Rossellini I don't get because she's in Conclave for like 5 minutes and doesn't really do much. Her character has a purpose for sure, but I don't really feel like she does anything spectacular that really warrants an Oscar nomination. But hey-oh, here we are. Hopefully she doesn't win for this. I think that would be a bit, not very convincing to win for a role like this. Personally, I was completely hooked on Monica Barbaro for Complete Unknown. Of course, it's the least picked, but I'm picking it. For a movie entirely about, kind of focused about telling the story of Bob Dylan, I found myself caring the absolute most to just see and hear and know everything about Joan Baez in this film. And part of that probably comes down to what Monica Barbaro did and how well her character, or how well Joan Baez came across and was performed in this film. So that would be an awesome win. I think she carried that movie entirely, to be completely honest, actually, ironically enough. But she's not winning, so it doesn't matter, but she's won in here, Ariana Grande would be kind of cool. That seems to be the front runner for Wicked if you look at these stats, and I would not mind that. I think that would be kind of cool, actually. So, so is Aldana. That's fine, too. Best sound. Complete Unknown, no. I think that the sound in that film is very unbalanced. It doesn't really feel kind of carefully put together. It feels very contrasting throughout in kind of a clunky way, so I don't approve of that. Or I don't support that, I suppose. Dune Part 2, yeah, it's a movie about sound, well, not entirely, but the sound has kind of a nice little, or a very important part in making that movie work. There are a lot of heavy effects, there's a lot of, just kind of taking aback moments in terms of what they do with mainly the sound design in this one, I'd say. So that's, understandable pick. Wicked, I didn't really pay attention that much to the sound mixing or whatnot in that film. The Wild Robot, kind of cool, I suppose. A lot of sound effects in it, of course, so that's nice. Emilia Perez, I think, actually has really good sound. I mean, they're playing around a lot with panning during all of these musical numbers and whatnot, so I think that should absolutely be in here. It's not a very popular pick, but I guess I'm going with Dune. Yeah, why not? The original songs, these aren't that great. They never really are when it comes to the Oscars. I mean, the songs that you get in these films, they're rarely anything to really write home about. There are 2 songs from Emilia Perez for whatever reason, and one of them is absolutely dreadful. That would be El Mal. I think the song is horrendous, truly. If they wanted to nominate 2 songs from this film, I would probably suggest, the song Para from Emilia Perez, which I think is probably the strongest in the soundtrack, which kind of focuses on a very characteristic melody and then just kind of expands on that throughout the song. Very dynamic and quite effective in the story as well. A lot of drama in it, which I'm a sucker for. Mi Camino is fine. That's a fine song, I'd say. The Journey from the 6888. The 6888 was such a amateurish film. I didn't really enjoy it at all. And the song, I mean, it had its moments, but no, not for me. Never Too Late from Elton John. I mean, I like Elton John, but this song didn't really speak to me. Like a Bird from Sing Sing, I'd say that's probably the most... the song that worked for me the most. I feel like it developed quite nicely. It kind of threw in these electronica details towards the end of it that really made the song feel progressive and actually kind of purposeful in a way. And I did like the opening half of it as well, with kind of guitar focused and whatnot. So yeah, I'm a fan of that. Documentary short film, I've seen 3 of these. The Only Girl in the Orchestra, which was alright. I'm Ready Warden, which was alright. And Instruments of a Beating Heart, which brought out the biggest softie in me possible. So I'm going with that. Made my heart feel things. Documentary feature film. Now, I haven't seen all of these, but I don't even care. Like, in my mind, in my head, in my opinion, this needs, like, Black Box Diaries needs this. It hits so freaking hard. I can't even put into words. I was so emotionally attached to this story, and I mean, the whole concept of the country of Japan just not screening this documentary in their country, I suppose due to the fact that it's criticizing the unfair justice system in the country. It just kind of really angers me, and I'm just really, like, this film makes you angry. At least it made me angry, and really, really sad and disappointed and disheartened. I think a win for Black Box Diaries in this category would be huge and very, very important. Like, if it ended up winning an Oscar, I mean, you can't shy away from it. This movie needs as much exposure as it possibly could get. And yeah, in case you want to watch a documentary this week and you haven't seen Black Box Diaries, that's my suggestion to you. I hope it wins. Doesn't look likely, but I really hope it does. Production design, The Brutalist, very cool. Conclave, super cool. Dune Part 2, yeah. Nosferatu, kind of cool as well. Wicked, Wicked, okay, it's between Dune and Wicked for me. I'm going Dune, I suppose, but Wicked's cool as well. So, yeah. But these are good nominations. I really like them. Visual effects: Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. This has to go to Dune, surely. I mean, just look at it. I'm kind of speedrunning through these now because I feel like I've talked for way too long already. International feature film. This is an interesting category, really. I'm Still Here is a movie that I want to watch so badly. However, it's not available in Sweden. I've tried to find it so much. Nowhere. It's completely impossible for me to find it. So I still, like, that's probably the movie out of everything on here that I'm just upset and so disappointed that I haven't been able to see. So I can't state my opinion on it, unfortunately. Emilia Perez, I'm expecting to win this one, but who knows. I'd love to see Flo win it. I think that would be really cool. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I haven't seen these two, I'm sorry. If these are better than Flo, then all the more power to them. Or I'm Still Here, of course. I've only seen Emilia Perez and Flo, I just realized. And then I definitely prefer Flo. I can only pick from what I've seen, so... yeah, Flo, for me. At the moment, anyway. Live action short film, I have not seen any of these either. I think all of them you could rent them if you pay like $5 or something. I just didn't do that. I haven't had the time to watch these, and I mean, I prioritized other movies. So I don't know about these. Whichever one you like the most, just say that I picked that one. Cinematography, good category, always one of my favorite categories to just kind of see what they got going for them there. The Brutalist, yes, very good pick. Dune Part 2, yeah. Emilia Perez, all right, I don't get it. Maria looks great, yeah. It's not really a movie for me, but it looked great. And Nosferatu is a cool one. I really wanted Conclave in here. I think Conclave had some of the greatest cinematography, personally. But out of these picks, The Brutalist, for sure. Even if Conclave was in here, I would still go for The Brutalist. Music original score, we got The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. The Wild Robot is kind of a cool one in here. It has a very kind of like iconic score to it. Like you definitely recognize it immediately when you hear it. Like, oh yeah, that's the Wild Robot score. Wicked and Emilia Perez, I mean, I don't have an opinion really. Conclave, super dramatic and kind of ear-piercing in a way. A lot of cello work in this one, and it definitely has a characteristic tone to it as well. However, The Brutalist is the one that's the most dynamic, I would say. It feels like the score is entirely built up around the movie, and it's very varied throughout as well. It has, different pieces of music that always very much fits what's going on in the film. I'm going with The Brutalist on this one as well. I think you can kind of figure out what my favorite movie of the year is as I go along in these categories. But I think really everything about The Brutalist is kind of perfect. So, yeah. Actor in a leading role. We got The Brutalist again, Adrien Brody. That's my pick, without a doubt. I mean, that if you watch the movie, I think you'd understand why I would say that. Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown. Okay. I mean, sure. Why not? Coleman Domingo in Sing Sing was great. Ralph Fiennes in Conclave. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid nomination, but I don't think it's winner-worthy. And Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice is a cool performance, but this one is for Adrien Brody. I'm very disappointed that Daniel Craig is not in this category for queer. I think that definitely should have been a nomination. But hey-ho, here we are. I'm going Brody. Directing, Sean Baker for Anora, Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. Why is that the favorite? I don't get it. Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez and Coralie Farja for The Substance. Yeah, I'm going Brady Corbet. You know, it's The Brutalist. Actress in a leading role. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. Yeah, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, okay. Mikey Madison for Anora, it's good. Like that's one I can get behind on Anora. Demi Moore for The Substance, though, that's my pick because I haven't seen I'm Still Here. I'm really so disappointed that I haven't been able to find it anywhere and I can't see it. Maybe in a month's time, once I've hopefully seen I'm Still Here, I could change my mind on this category because I've heard very good things about this performance. But for now, I gotta go with what I've seen. I've seen 4 of these and Demi Moore is my favorite out of them, so that's what I'm going for. And finally, it's the big one. It's the Best Picture. There's Anora in here. There's The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. I've seen 9 of them. I haven't seen I'm Still Here, as I've already mentioned, unfortunately. But out of the ones I've watched, you already know what I'm going for because I've said it earlier in the video. My favorite film of the year is The Brutalist, so I want The Brutalist to win. And that kind of, let's see how many... I should try and compile like how many categories or how many Oscars I think every movie should win, so I can put that on the screen now. Hopefully I remember to do that, so you can see now there's the complete list of how many Oscars I think each movie should get. But The Brutalist is definitely the one that picks up the most in my book, and yeah, looking forward to see what's actually going to happen in real life. If you're also into the movies and the Oscars and you've seen a bunch of these and you have your opinions on them, feel free to share them in the comments. I'd be very interested to know, actually, because, as I've said, I'm very much into movies as well. I enjoy it. I try and keep up with the Oscars every single year and watch as much as I can. And maybe others also have that interest here on my channel. What do I know? If you do, let me know. And yeah, thank you for sticking around throughout this video. It's kind of, it doesn't really provide much, this video. It's just for a bit of fun for me anyway, and I enjoy just talking about things that I like, movies included. But yeah, also, let me know, what's your favorite movie that you've seen from 2024? Maybe it's something that's not even included in the Oscars, you know, that could be the case. For me, of course, like The Brutalist was my favorite, but there are, of course, like movies that are just getting completely overlooked by the Oscars and they don't get any nominations, even though maybe you think like they should. I saw one movie this year, an international movie called Vermiglio from Italy, that I really, really liked, and it was not nominated in the international feature category. That happens every year, you know, that there are films that you feel like, why isn't this here? Maybe you got something like that as well. But for me, I'm just glad The Brutalist is in here so much, and I hope that tonight, when the Oscars happen, it's gonna win so many awards, hopefully. Fingers crossed from me, anyway. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully it was somewhat fun, and you enjoyed it. If not, well, maybe you'll enjoy the next video better. Thank you for watching, take care of yourselves, and hopefully I see you again very, very soon. Take care, and bye-bye.